Welcome back, guys. I think today's video is going to be touching upon how semen retention will make you face your emotions. I might even clump in sobriety in there with it too. So, the entire point of semen retention, the entire point of getting sober is to bring your body, your mind, and your spirit back to baseline. We all remember what it was like when we were children before we started to play with ourselves, and also before we started to become addicted to various things. And we remember how much of a joy it was to just wake up in the morning. We remember how happy we used to be and how much friends that we used to have and how we used to be this charismatic person that could seemingly achieve anything that they put their mind to. And eventually what happens is that you end up sedating yourself out of the life that you once had, whether that be through playing with yourself, whether that be through drinking, whether that be through vaping, whether that be through smoking, whether that be through taking certain substances that get you out of a certain frame of mind. And I think it's important that we went down the path that we went to in the name of exploration, in the name of nobody was going to stop us. Nobody was going to stop us except for ourselves. And so if you're watching this, you're probably um, scouting. You're probably scouting to see how semen retention and sobriety will help you deal with your emotions. Well, like I was saying, once you stop sedating yourself, you actually have to sit there with your emotions. You have to face that which you have been running from this entire time. All of that, all of that addiction in any form was a form of escapism because you were trying to escape that which you felt deep down in your soul. And eventually that feeling became a feeling of emptiness. It became a feeling of unworthiness. It became a feeling of regret. And hopping on semen retention, hopping on sobriety will force you to deal with that. And it seems like a big challenge at first, but I promise you, once you recalibrate your mind, your brain chemistry, once you recalibrate your reward system within your own body, your limbic system, it's the simple things that you feel rewarded by. You feel rewarded by reading a book that might help you deal with these emotions. You feel rewarded when you brush your teeth. You feel rewarded when you make your bed in the morning. You feel rewarded when you set out a small goal, even something as small as picking up your room, even something as small as cooking a meal today. Today I'm going to cook a meal. And you do that because you have the energy, because you have boredom. Using boredom to your advantage. I'm bored. Let me do something that is productive. Let me do something that will push me and propel me to be proud of myself. That's really what it comes down to. Cultivating daily habits that allow you to feel proud about yourself. That will eventually give you a sense of confidence, a sense of knowing that you can achieve even the small tasks. And if you've seen my How Semen Retention Will Force You to Chase Your Dreams video, then you will know that achieving the smallest things is the first steps. And those small things become medium things, and those medium things become big things, and those big things become impossible things. Or at least that which you think is impossible. So it's it's important that you don't relapse, for one. But number two, recognize I'm bored right now. I'm so bored. I don't know what to do with myself. Try and figure out something that would be productive. Even like cleaning your bathroom. Let's say sweeping the floor, mopping the floor. Like, what is a book that a lot of people recommended you that you read? Like, I know you know the title. You know the title. You know, a book that was heavily um, it was heavily advertised to me, not in my phone or social media or anything like that, but to people around me. I kept on hearing the words 48 Laws of Power. 48 Laws of Power until eventually, um, when I was 21, I ended up getting a girlfriend on my first long streak, and her name was Christina, and she asked me if I knew the 48 Laws of Power. And at the time, I had only heard about the 48 Laws of Power. And I remember whenever we would get into an argument, she would say, she would low key prime me. She would low key be, she would low key be subconsciously sending me hints to read the 48 Laws of Power. And I still have to figure out why. I still have to figure out why. Maybe she genuinely wanted me to read the book and gain the knowledge. But now, after having read the 48 Laws of Power, you understand that there's motives beyond that which are on the surface, that people do things. And so I read the book 48 Laws of Power. It's a hard read. I think I mentioned this in a separate video. It is a hard read, but it is definitely worth the read. And likewise, there's more books out there that you have heard of, that people have recommended you and primed you to think about. There's titles of books in your mind right now that you haven't read. And I know there is, because there has been for me. And maybe I could be completely wrong. Could be completely wrong. That could be just me, but I've never been an avid reader. I've never been an avid reader. I will say that being on semen retention, being sober, has made me have an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. And a lot of knowledge can be obtained through books if you truly understand the meaning of the words. I have a decent base of vocabulary and a decent understanding of the English language. I'm no expert by any means of the English language. As a matter of fact, I probably read at like a 10th grade level. So, but I do enjoy reading things that I'm interested in now, and you'll find that you will be interested in learning more along your journey of sobriety and semen retention. I think areas that you might be interested in, maybe that you know or you don't know, communication. Communication. I personally am interested in areas of communication, not necessarily. I don't necessarily want to go to college for communication. I actually don't even want to go to college, but I think there's books out there. There's webinars. There's seminars. There's courses. There's so many things that you can access through the internet, if you have access to the internet, on information about the things that you like communication. For example, for me, I love to speak. I love to speak. I love to communicate more accurately, properly. I love to communicate properly, and that's not to say that I need to understand the English language more than I do. I mean, I certainly should in terms of striving for my absolute best, but I just mean communication is a great skill to have. It's important that the message that you're trying to convey gets across to the audience that you're trying to convey it to. That's the entire point of communication. And so, learning to articulate yourself is very important. Reading books will help you articulate yourself because you'll be able to read what other people are writing. And if it makes sense to you, it could probably make sense to another person. And so, you get all of these avenues and all these inputs of what these people are writing, how they're writing, the syntax, meaning the way they write and what they write, and then you cultivate your own version of communication. Communication, right? Books, all these information, seeking out knowledge. Seek out knowledge on how to deal with your emotions. Sometimes just learning how to manage your stress levels can help you with emotions. You know, remembering to work out, remembering to try and sit still in a quiet place and observe your thoughts and observe the things that are going on in your own mind. You have to face them, and you'll be surprised at what you might find. You'll learn how to reframe your life. You'll learn how to look at things that you once looked at negatively and somehow turn it into a positive thing. Like, for example, I recently went through a breakup probably 2 months ago. Probably 2 months ago, maybe a month and a half, something like that. I don't know. And for the longest time, I was beating myself up because I thought to myself, like, Xerxes, why did you have to do that? Why did you have to say that? But now that I think about it, and I'm not so caught up in the withdrawals of the entire relationship, I understand that I stood up for myself. I set a boundary and I stood on business. And I'm proud of myself. I didn't like the way I was being treated. And so I had to change that. And as painful as that was, it was everything that I needed in that moment and now in order to move forward with my life the best that I possibly can. That's all I got for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the message, and I hope all of you guys have a wonderful day today. Peace.